So we're back, and we're going to dive into our second episode. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being here
Thank you for
for
joining
our
us.
podcast.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And we
It
want
is.
to remind you this is the death of our sons, the rebirth of ourselves.
Yeah.
Episode number 2, the emotional process. Where we began to be where we are today. What it took, what it gave, what it took back again, the emotional roller coasters, the different parts that were made and remade, the different parts that were broken down. This is what we'll be dealing with in this episode number 2.
And this is where we get messy.
So, Debbie, we're talking about the emotional process. How did we arrive here? What did it take to arrive here? Where it started and where it's going, we don't know. We're going to leave it at that.
Yeah.
But where it's brought us to and how. There's so many different ways that it happens.
Yeah.
Starting with?
Starting with. So I find, fast forward to present, the emotions becomes all over the place. You know, as we took breaks and we were drinking the water, I remember solely of what water represents to me now that I'm going through this journey. And taking a sip of water allows your body to just pause for a moment. Because the emotions is all over the place. And a lot of the emotions, I think, sometimes comes from people have, those who love you really want to help you through the healing. And those who want to heal themselves say things that is not for you, it's for them. And trying to be emotionally, to guard your heart, to protect self and to protect your kids. It's an emotional roller coaster. I find I was really... So when the night we left the hospital, and I called village, called the family, and everybody started calling everybody, and everybody showed up at the house. And you're still in this, it's like you're a zombie. There's no emotions. I know I was lost. I just was, can we swear in this podcast?
Are we going to?
No. I was like, I don't know how to live anymore. I don't know. I don't understand. It was the day coming up to planning the funeral. That was another emotion on itself. I didn't know, did I want to be in the room to dress my son? Can I stand? Can I stand up? Can I manage? How do I manage this? How do I keep it real to my kids? I think that piece was so important to me because so often, especially for my son, my other son, I never wanted my son or my grandson not to be able to cry. And my daughter, I wanted to make sure that they saw the rawness of what death is. And so I kept that real. What I didn't keep real was when you go and people say, I'm so sorry for your loss, I smile and I will walk away. Or what I do was I did the avoidance thing. And the funeral, I thought, okay, I can't dress him. And there's days when you feel like, I think a good process of it was, I just wanted to die. I just wanted to die. This is too dark. The emotions when you have a child, for me, and as I said, everybody has different emotion, different journey, was I felt it every part of my being, every physical, emotional, every single part of me felt this. And how do I get up? How do I deal with this? How do I parent? But keeping it real was so important. And I think that's what got me angry, because don't tell me how you beep, 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 know what I'm feeling. You don't know what I'm feeling, because I don't know the hell what I'm feeling. All I know is that I've lost my son, and somebody decided that they were going to take his life. So you don't know how I feel, because I don't know the hell how I feel. And I think one of the things that was important for me, I remember the funeral, was that I wanted to speak about who my son was and what he's taught me. And seeing his body for the first time in the viewing, I don't know. I think this is when, as I said in the first podcast, I think the people, it's the spirituality and the God was just like saying, I got you. And literally, for those of you who are Christians, I said to God, I am parking you on the shelf right now because I don't understand. But he was there because I don't know. I don't know how I walk into that funeral home. I don't know. I don't know how I did the eulogy. I don't know. I just know I did. And the emotions were just, you're like a zombie. The emotions come when, I remember I was in the dollar store getting a balloon or something, and I just broke down. And I think how we got here, and how we stand up, it's, those around me, I've always said, your village and those you choose and those who you close up are the ones that are God's hand, will carry you when you can't fucking get out of bed.
Yeah.
When your anxiety level is so high. When you're so angry. But you get up. And I think that's what the rebirth is that you get up. You find a way because you keep it real and you've been authentic, and those around you have allowed you the space to do so. And you stand on the beliefs and you get up. And I think that is what has brought us here to this moment, to be freely to talk about the emotions. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree. I think there's an array of emotions. I think there's many that I don't think that there's real names for them, even from starting off to being like almost disillusioned. Like it was just, wasn't really happening from the beginning. And then, and then I became robotic, and it was just this is what you do. This is the thing you do now, and this is where you get up this time and you feed the kids because kids are there still in your house. And so I became robotic, and I went through that emotion of dealing with like what that is, to still abide by like what I'm supposed to be doing on a daily basis. And then the emotions didn't really have time for them. I kind of put them to the side, like, like there's two little people who are still living. There's two little people that like, they have stuff that needs to be done for them too. There's still parenting left to do. But the truth be told, I didn't do a lot of that. Like I went into my own world, and I wasn't concerned. I couldn't tell you who was at his funeral. They told me that it was over 1,000 people. That's irrelevant to me. That doesn't do this for me or that for me. I don't know some of my friends that were there. I don't remember the people that were there. I remember the TV, the journalists interviewing me. We did interviews for different TV stations, and I just kind of was like, well, say the thing that helps everybody. What do you think? What do you think this interview is going to be? They prep you and they tell you what the questions are, and then you answer that. And so the robotic was for a healthy period of time and it's almost like my soul knew that, like, you have to parent. You still have to parent. There's 2 more children left. You still have to parent. You can't just book out. And so there was other things that I couldn't do, and I automatically booked out. Like, I didn't go back to work for a very long time. And through that time, things became very apparent to me, even about my marriage and about, like, the different parts that this is affecting, like, in our life, our lifestyle, our new life. And I really started to look at things like, I'm not going to do or be the things I was before this. And what does this look like? The emotions were strong sometimes. The emotion of, like, breaking free. I don't know why I thought that, but that's what I felt, that I wanted to break free from something. And, like, even leaving Montreal was part of breaking free. It was part of, like, he's gone and made his path to meet his maker, and I'm just here. I'm just sitting here. And it was so personal for me. It was so selfish and personal for me because I was never impacted by anything anybody said, anything people did. I realized that this is my soul journey. This has nothing to do with everybody. And I don't know why I encompassed that and embodied that immediately. And so there's people would say things and have things to say, and I would just look and I just realize it has nothing to do with me. And I didn't. Sometimes I answered. I think sometimes I did. Sometimes I didn't. I just kind of went into myself, my own little world, and took care of myself the best way that I knew how. And so one of the huge things is that I left my marriage, and I moved out of the matrimonial home and parented on a whole different level that I've never done before. Just these parts of myself started to grow and change based on this original grief of my son passing. And I remember feeling even emotions of, like, I was envious. Like, I looked at his friends and I was just like, oh my gosh, you guys are doing all these things in your life. And, and a lot of them cling to me even today. And it's 10 years November or December is 10 years. So even those relationships, I'm in such gratitude for them. At the same time, I'm just also very aware that, like, this is what my son would be doing, So they're all having children and they're bringing these babies to me. And I'm like, oh my God, he would be possibly having a baby now, like, possibly. I remember one emotion very clear when he passed. I remember asking the weirdest thing, and I don't know what I was doing. And the thing is, I think a lot of his friends didn't answer me, but I was just like, do you guys know if he got anybody pregnant? Like, are there babies out there? And it was just like, it was like, even in, like, texting the message, I felt crazy and I still did it. Like, I felt crazy sitting on my shoulder and I still did it because I'm like, that's crazy. Send. And it was like, and they were like, no, he wasn't serious with anybody. No, that's not what I asked you. I want to know if there was any babies that are possibly out there that I can have. And it was such a weird thing that I did. Like, I was very in that moment. That brought me to that for some reason that week. And that's what I focused on, was trying to find out if there's any babies out there. It was so weird. Like, no one could speak to me about it because what could you say? Like, what would they say to me? But I was on that for like a week. And
do you think, Roxanne, to cut you in this piece, Do you find that that weirdness continue in odd little things of the
Yeah,
way this grief
for
is?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thing is, I knew better. As I was doing it, I knew better. And there's so many things where I know better. I look at things like I saw even like so you go into the crazy. So that's another emotion. And I was looking out the window one day and this boy walked exactly like him. The thing is, boys that age, they a lot of them walk like each other. The way they like if they're wearing a tracksuit, how that looks, like how they, I don't know, it's what their body does at that age. And I looked and I almost jumped to my balcony and I was like on the third floor. I almost jumped on my balcony to get to him quick, like, and I don't know why. So I ran down the stairs and I came and I was like right behind him. I'm like, you can't do this. You actually can't. You can't touch him. You can't talk to him. And I was steps behind, like he heard me behind him to the point that like he moved out of the way for me to pass. And it was just like, wow, you were about to do this. And I had to talk myself down. Like, you can't touch him. You cannot speak to him. It doesn't matter what you think. It's not true. That's an illusion. And I had to talk myself down and I was just like, well, I'm just gonna take a picture. So I took a video of him walking away. And then I walked back with my crazy back into the building. Like, wow, you actually did that. You like followed through. You thought about it on the balcony and you did it. And so that's the crazy. And that's, you know, that when you're, you know, some days you hang on for dear life, you know, and you're hanging on, you're like, let me just hang on to this because maybe this will make, you know, make me feel real, you know? And then, but you're slipping, you're holding it and you're slipping. And that emotion that is like leaving you to then be another emotion and leaving you to come back, like that's happening and that's real.
And I think another emotion is that is really weird to where we are now. You know, you being 10, I've lost your son, me being 4. Is you do this dance, this funny emotions with grief, because I'll be walking somewhere and the grief will decide it's going to come, and now it's an entity on its own. I find for me, and I'll be like, oh no, grief, you're not coming today. I'm in the grocery store, and I'm going to wait. You're gonna wait till I go home. And you're literally talking to yourself about, okay, grief, we're not doing this right now. You know, or I'll see things that reminds me of my son. And I'll be like, I said that to someone and they're like, would this have been his profession? I'm like, no. But still, it made sense in the madness, right? But I think in this process of the time period we're in, for me, it's about how you do the dance with grief and says, wait, or you know, I focus on something else, or I look into something else, or you speak the emotion, you speak when you feel them present, their presence. If somebody's around and don't understand, they think you're like, yeah, you've lost your marbles. But I think it's what brings you the peace and what rebuilds who you are. And as you said, right, it's a whole bunch of emotions that there's even no words to describe that define it, right? So, but in this episode, we bring it back to where we are in our emotions and the continued journey.
Yeah. And the fact that it, like, regardless of what it is today, it can be anything tomorrow.
Anything.
And that's what we've arrived at. That, like, yes, there's an array of emotions. There's many emotions from the beginning being robotic to the end, kind of having some acceptance on some levels, and some things may never be accepted, right? And some things may never be healed. But, like, here we are now. Here we are today. And the emotions have pushed us along and brought us to where we are now. And that's what we wanted to share. We wanted to make sure to have that out there, that like it's not one or two emotions, and it's things that we don't even know how to explain. And we signal off to you that we honor our children by honoring our healing. Until next time, take it one breath, one step, one day at a time. Thank you.
Be blessed.